Hi, I'm Joyce Creiger. This is ArtLink, conversations with artists, art professionals, art consultants, designers, art lovers, and art collectors. My guest today is Jen Sabella, an artist that I've had the pleasure of working with recently, and she and I collaborated on a project, and I was excited enough about her work to bring her here. Now, you and I got together a year or so ago as a result of my working with a designer who saw your work on the 4-Point Channel website. And the client was doing a hotel in Boston and asked me if I could find you and if I thought that you were capable of doing almost a 17-foot commission for the back of the reception desk at this hotel. And I called you, and what happened from that point in your, tell me a little bit about what you perceived to be the challenge.
Well, first of all, your phone call was the funniest phone call ever. It was like 10 o'clock at night, and you're like, "This is Joyce, I need you to do one of your fly papers." It's like, okay, so we had to start with, originally I did my drips, my fly papers, which are the drip canvases, and then I cut them up to make strips, which you can, I'm sure you'll have images of. The challenge with that was that it had to be fireproof because it was in a public space.
Right.
And it's free hanging. It's not like it's up against the wall. It hangs so that each strip, there's a slight motion to each strip. So, well, we went through many different ways of fireproofing, trying to make the canvas fireproof, trying to figure out if fireproof paint would work and that took probably about a month for us to kind of go through all the stages of figuring out what works, what doesn't work. None of those worked. Turned out. Well,
Boston, as you know, has probably the strictest fire codes of all the states, that and Las Vegas. And it was of paramount importance that if this piece was going to be that big and it was going to be hanging, it had to be fireproof or it never would have gone through. They wouldn't have allowed it.
And we did a couple of videotapes, and everything failed. Everything smoked or flamed out, or So you came up with aluminum sheet metal, doing it on metal, and that's what we.
I think we talked about possibly plexiglass.
We did. We talked about plexi, right? And the problem with that was that it melted.
Right.
It would melt and toxic fumes. So, yeah, we ended up with sheet metal.
So was that collaboration helpful to you, or was it?
Did it help? Invaluable. That was working with you was invaluable to me to grow as far as what I do. And
have you done collaborations with anyone else?
No.
Well, you're good at it, I will tell you, because it was a very successful project. The designer was thrilled, and I think the hotel, which is the 4-Point Channel Residence Inn Marriott in Boston, was extremely happy with the results.
Yeah, well,
and you took it on and really did a good job.
Well, you pushed me. I mean, really, and I wasn't going to back down. I wasn't, because I wanted it to work so badly.
You had to do it because the designer asked me if you could do it, and I said yes.
Yes, yeah, and you weren't going to let it drop either, so, which was great because I would have, it was great because having never worked with anybody, it was just my own motivation, but you actually motivated me in a whole other direction. I never would have thought to paint on metal and then cut the metal up. I mean, that's a huge undertaking, I think.
Right.
To have that done. And it did turn to be a challenge, but it worked out.
In your opinion, do you think you will seek other commissions, go to art consultants and maybe see if you could do other commissions with consultants or designers?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. It's actually a really fun way to go.
Because I think one of the things about collaborations is it does expand your horizons. And this is proof. I think it's a different way to go. It's one thing to be painting in your studio. I also noticed on your website that you're creating some sort of pocketbooks.
Oh yes, Joe Birds. Yeah, Joe Birds.
Tell us a little bit about that.
These wonderful people are making these yoga bag carryalls, and they're located in Connecticut, and they found my work because we had the same webmaster for our websites, and my webmaster had one of my big paintings on the wall, one of my drips, and they saw that and they said that would make a great yoga bag. So we collaborated and they used one of my paintings for these beautiful bags. I should have brought one in.
Oh, I wish you had.
Yeah, and they're made out of recycled plastic bottles. They're all sourced, in the States. And they sell them on their website and at yoga studios in New York and Connecticut.
Tell us a little bit about what it's like to be isolated in the studio and painting.
I love it. It's my safe place. I have my music on, I have my dogs around me, or I have my podcast, and I go into a zone. And when I'm painting, I have it's like meditation for me. It really is. I'm in my own head.
Would you be willing to share your technique with us?
Sure. Of the drip painting?
Yeah.
I use thin acrylic paint. I have various empty bottles. I mix my colors with the paints, and then there's a medium that I use called pouring medium that Liquitex makes, and I put that in with the paint, shake it up, and I will just stand in front of my canvas. Usually I'll tape it off if I want it taped off or not, and I'll stand there and I'll squeeze, let it run, squeeze, let it run, and then sometimes I'll guide it down with I have a stick.
How do you control it?
As much as I can with a stick. Depends. If it hits something and it decides to go off, then I can't really control it.
Q-tips. Yeah, do you use that as an accidental?
Sometimes, if I like it, yeah.
Or do you toss it?
Well, I don't really toss it. I can always go over it. That's the wonderful thing about it, is if I don't like it, there's so many layers of drips on there that I can just cover up something I don't like. And then so I'll do a row, so there's space in between so that the colors aren't mixing and blending. I don't like that. Wait for those to dry. I flip the canvas and do the same thing. Flip the canvas until
when you say flip it, so you go from the top to the bottom and the bottom to the top?
Yep.
Oh.
So I'll actually turn the whole piece over so it's the opposite way, and then start dripping from the other way. Let it dry, and I just keep doing that repeatedly until I like how it looks, and I like it has to have the right depth. The color has to be. Pieces have to show through of the little bits from the past, because it's all about the layers of what you cover up.
Jennifer, what was one of the most exciting things that happened to you in your career?
I have two. One was a couple years ago. I was in a group show in Greenwich, the Greenwich Art Society, with it was a color show, and I was with Kenneth Noland, Robert Motherwell.
They were exhibiting in the show with you?
Yeah. Well, yeah, our pieces were all together. Robert Motherwell, there was a Calder. It was just Helen Frankenthaler. It was pretty exciting, and that was one of my first big shows that I had done. I had 5 pieces.
What a lucky opportunity for you.
It was amazing.
People wait a lifetime for that.
Yeah.
One of the things I like to ask artists is to please complete this sentence. Art is.
Art is whatever you see and makes you feel something, makes it resonate with you. Or it's also just a really pretentious thing to say. Whatever it is, whatever you think is beautiful, if that's what you want, if you're looking for, or ugly. Some people, I'm amazed at what is considered great sometimes, but that's me. That doesn't, people are different. So I don't know. It's I can't really say, because that's a pretentious thing to answer. I can't answer it.
I think you answered it perfectly well.
Okay.
Jennifer, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, Joyce.